And if you guys like reasonably priced $26,000 brand new little mini trucks, please consider liking this video. That small act of kindness really goes a long way, and it helps me know you want to see me travel more, find more vehicles, both good and bad deals to show you. Subscribe if you haven't already, comment your thoughts and opinions below, and otherwise enjoy this video. This is really cool, the twin turbo 365 horsepower Taurus SHO, but yet it still costs $29,000 for being 6 years old. Or $90,000 for these Ford Bronco Raptors. Just now, I traveled all the way to Boise, Idaho, which has a population in the metropolitan area of about 700,000 people, to show you what their highest volume car and truck dealerships look like, so you can expect to see what vehicle inventory, transparency, and dealership sales tactics actually look like, so that you can better understand for yourself what's going on in the car market. Are there affordable vehicles? Is everything overpriced? Is the car market collapsing, or just what the heck in general is going on? So let's get right into it and see what we can find in today's video. Starting out, there's a whole line of the brand new 2024 Toyota GR86, which is the rebadged Subaru BRZ. Really fun car to drive, but I've never seen this many of them all lined up, all in a row. There's over a dozen here just at this one dealership, and they're all brand new. And if you guys don't like the new turbo 4-cylinder Tacoma, you still can find some lightly used 2023s or the current third generation. You might just have to look for it. But for example, this very first one only has 3,000 miles. It is a 2023, but it's about 42 grand, which is likely about what this was MSRP brand new, being a TRD off-road. This is a 2019 Toyota Tacoma SR. Without the convenience package, it has 70,000 miles, and they still want $23,000 for it. You can tell it doesn't have the convenience package because the bumpers aren't painted, so you're not even going to have keyless entry on this one. And for $23,000, hopefully it's a four-wheel drive, but I don't even see the four-wheel drive badging. And the third-gen Tacoma two-wheel drive has the same ground clearance as the four-wheel drive, so it's hard to tell, and I doubt anyone would debadge this. So $23,000 for a 5-year-old Tacoma outside of powertrain warranty, and that's literally what a two-wheel drive SR without convenience package costs brand new. I'm just looking at the used part of the inventory right now, and there's actually quite a few used RAV4s right over here. Some Venzas, Corolla Cross, some of the other vehicles over here, Highlander, Camrys and Avalons, Corollas, both the sedan and the hatchback. The hatchbacks always look like they should be the GR because of how well they're styled. So then when I actually do find a GR Corolla, I'm almost surprised that I actually found one because they're pretty rare, but even the SEs almost look like they have the wide fenders too. But there's really no shortage of inventory here. They could, of course, park the trucks a little bit closer together. They could fit a few more of these new Tacomas over here. But honestly, inventory looks pretty decent compared to some of the other dealerships I've been to. This is honestly a pretty beautiful sight, a brand new 2024 four-door Tacoma with the composite bed liner, which is what the standard Tacoma comes with. It is unfortunately a two-wheel drive, but it does start at under $40,000, and that's before any discounts that this dealership will offer you. So you can still find a sub $40,000 Toyota Tacoma. And if you live in a warm climate, if you live in a southern state, you might not even care that you're missing the four-wheel drive. Or what about this one? Here's another SR5, and it's another $39,000 vehicle because it is a 4x2. But overall, you can find some fairly affordable Tacomas if you look around. However, a lot of the Tundras here are loaded out. They are pretty expensive, and they do cost a lot more than I think anyone should be paying for a Toyota Tundra. It's the iForce Max. So it's a hybrid 3.4 liter V6 with twin turbos. This is the capstone, which is likely the highest trim level. And after destination and goodies, it's $80,000 before any discounts. It does have some really nice leather white perforated seats. It does have the factory Toyota composite bed liner, which is now a standard thing for the Tundras. But an $80,000 Toyota Tundra, that's honestly too fancy. It has chrome handles, chrome accent pieces, chrome caps, covers. No one's going to be wanting to put their $80,000 Tundra to work. But this one actually looks really cool. I like Toyota silver color, and I actually really dig the taillights on these. But it's a TRD off-road, it's a limited Tundra, and it's still a $68,000 truck. This one is a little bit more likely to get down and dirty to take it off-road, other than the fact that it's still a full-size truck, and full-size trucks typically do not do very well off-road. So it is cool that it has the TRD off-road package. Hopefully it has a rear locker. You guys can comment below if the Tundras do or don't. But still, $68,000 for a fancy pants hybrid V6 with twin turbos. I wish it still had the V8 option. And here are a few brand new 5th generation Toyota 4Runners. Probably the last vehicle in America that still only has a 5-speed transmission, Has a big underpowered 4-liter V6. I used to own one of these when I had a supercharged FJ Cruiser, and it does a really good job. This is just an SR5, $44,000, keeping a wild savings of $500, so $44,000 before any dealer discounts on this one. But this is also the most basic one that you can have. It doesn't even have the premium package because it doesn't even have the heated seats. You can see those blank buttons right there. But still, if you want probably the most reliable vehicle you can buy right here, $44,000 will get you it. And I do want to mention, I visited this dealership about a half year ago, and I could find discounts of up to $5,500 to $7,000 off, depending on the trim level. The $7,000 off, it was a limited, and personally, I would never want a limited 4Runner. I'd rather have a TRD off-road or an SR5 with premium package. I feel like that's the better value. But you can find good deals, especially by the end of the year, if those don't sell. There's more Tundras over here, but they're Platinum 1794 editions. They're really fancy ones. And then here's the whole sea of unibody crossovers between the Venza. There's going to be some RAV4s, the Corolla Crosses, all those. But really, there's no shortage of inventory at this Toyota dealership. And also, compared to what I've seen more local to me, there's no shortage of discounts either. So in this case, I think it is worth doing a day trip to go save yourself $500 to $5,000 off, depending on what the vehicle is, how long it's been sitting at each specific dealership, and how desperate they are to get rid of it before interest keeps racking up and they have to pay more just to keep it sitting on the lot. I will say though, guys, I was really surprised to see so many Tundras out today. And again, they are basically all iForce Max, fancy pants versions. I'm not really seeing any SR5s. They're all limiteds or higher, which is interesting. I think I'm going to go to the Ford dealership next, but I do appreciate that a lot of these vehicles do have their mileage, their year, and their pricing in the window. So although I don't agree with half of it, I am impressed to see that there is some good transparency here. And vehicle prices are getting better compared to what I saw maybe half a year ago. So that's pretty good. That's pretty encouraging. I think if we can just continue to not overspend, not pay for overvalued vehicles, whether it's overvalued because of the dealership or it's overvalued because of the manufacturer, shop the brands and the manufacturers that are actually giving you the value that you're paying for. Now I'm at a Ford dealership and there's actually a whole lot of trucks here, but what I find really interesting compared to the towns more local to me is how many Ford Lightnings there are. And beyond that, that this dealership is actually ordering more affordable models, more affordable trim levels, I should say. Some of these, in fact, a lot of them are 2023s, so they have been sitting here potentially for over a year, but they're all discounted $10,000 to $20,000. So the majority of these Ford Lightnings, which again, they're a year old, but they're all in the $50,000 ballpark. There's a couple in the 60s, but I'm going to show you quite a bit of stuff over here, and it's actually pretty impressive, the price tags I'm seeing right now. Not saying that a $53,000, $57,000 truck like this one is not affordable, but compared to some other dealerships I've been to, I've seen a lot of these that were priced starting MSRP around $95,000 and discounted only to $75,000. So compared to that, a $55,000 Ford F-150 Lightning EV that you're not going to have to pay for gas might actually not be too bad of a deal. And I honestly still don't understand why no work trucks come from the factory with bed liners. I feel like that's kind of ridiculous and not something you should have to pay an extra $600 for when you're already spending $50,000 or more on a truck. But although these are 4x4, very tall trucks, in fact, just the bed height of it is pretty close to my shoulder height almost, and I'm nearly 6 feet tall. But none of these have bed liners, which makes me suspect that maybe they aren't actually designed for work. They're designed to be a status symbol, because that's kind of what trucks have become a lot more recently. Not very many people actually use trucks for work. Most people use them to pick their kids up from daycare, to drive to the grocery store and carry a couple gallons of milk home. They're not actually towing 12,000 pounds and having the payload capacity maxed out at 2,000 pounds on the more capable trim levels. But here's a bunch of 2024s. You can tell that these are all 24s because they have the refreshed front end, the refreshed grille for this mid 14th generation that has the horizontal bar right there, pretty prominent. And a lot of these, they're in the 40s and the $50,000 ballpark. And that's even with just about a $6,000 discount coupon. So what I'm impressed with this dealership is that they're ordering not the highest trim levels, they're ordering SXTs and loading them out, or XLs and XLTs. It's not a bunch of crazy trim levels that put this, at $80,000 after discount, maybe 70. They're putting these in the $45,000 to $55,000 ballpark. So they're within $10,000 of the average new vehicle, which a fully loaded, basically basic full loaded F-150. I feel like that's actually kind of worth it. Or here's an Expedition. It's a 2024, so it's brand new, and it's $80,000 after discount. I've seen some of these nearly $90,000. So this is still too rich for my blood. I don't think any Ford SUV is worth 80 grand, especially if it's just a family hauler and it's not something with the Shelby nameplate on it. But still, you know, it's nice to see that some dealerships don't just order the most expensive vehicles, but they order ones that they can then still discount, and they can sell to you for nearly the average new vehicle transaction price. And inventory, at least in this town, is looking really good. There's a lot of vehicles, and this is still kind of the accessory lot for this dealership. There's some Ford Explorer STs, and they're in the 50s, it looks like. So that's still pretty expensive, but for a 400 horsepower, sort of performance-focused SUV, sounds a lot better than 80 grand. Sounds a lot better when it doesn't have any markups. But I'm gonna head over to the main portion. There's obviously some Bronco Raptors right here, the really wide body lifted ones, but I'll see if there's anything else interesting to show you guys before we move on. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of Broncos and a lot of Bronco Raptors, but this is the first time that I've seen below MSRP discounts on a Bronco Raptor. At one point, about a year and a half ago, I was finding these for a $30,000 or $40,000 markup, which is insane because a lot of people don't even think they're worth the basic MSRP. And if you just want like a Sasquatch package one with the 35-inch tires and you don't want something extra special, you can still get one for 61 grand. Even when I was in Las Vegas about half a year ago, I found a Sasquatch package 2-door that MSRP'd for 60 grand, and the dealership actually had the nerve to ask 75 after a $15,000 markup. So I do find it interesting that this Ford dealership ordered basically all of their Broncos with either the Sasquatch 35-inch tire package or as Bronco Raptors. I've never seen this many Raptors all in one place. I've driven one briefly, and it was cool, but was it $90,000 cool? I don't think so. But does it stand out? Sure. Does it look pretty cool? That's subjective, depends who you ask. It definitely is a status symbol, I would say. I don't think anyone who buys one of these, other than Whistling Diesel, is probably going to actually use it for its intended purpose. This is the cheapest Bronco that I've ever found, $47,000, the average new vehicle price for a 2024 four-door. And there's quite a few more F-150s on this next row. $45,000 for this brand new 2025. It does have over $6,200 of discounts. It is only an extended cab. You can see already that there's no bed liner, of course, but $45,000 for a brand new F-150 SXT, I feel like that's actually maybe a decent deal. And if you guys disagree with me, it's only because the deals I've been seeing lately are so ridiculous, so completely obnoxious, that a $47,000 full-size four-door truck, even though it only has cloth seats, it even has a center console though, of course no bed liner, but it is 4x4, has a little bit of storage in the rear without having the giant like Ram storage boxes that take away your whole bed. So although it's a short bed, it's probably only about 5.5 feet. This still, for $47,000, seems like a half-decent deal. With this Ford dealership being a little bit more in line with a smaller city, I'm not surprised that they do have so many Bronco Raptors and more expensive trim levels for certain specialty models. And there are a lot of EVs because there are way more EV charge points in here than there are in a lot of smaller towns. $51,000 for this Mach-E. $51,000 for the blue Mach-E. $54,000 for this one, $51,000 for that one. So they are all in the low $50,000 ballpark. In person, I've seen these quite a few times. They've been out for a few years, and my brother even owns Model Y Performance, which is kind of the better version of this. You know, I don't like that I used the Mustang nameplate for advertising, but it definitely got the people talking, good and bad. That helps Ford. And in person, they do look pretty cool. Just name it something different. And maybe drop the price $10,000, but otherwise, in person, they actually look fairly sporty and fairly stylish for being a four-door crossover that's electric powered. After discount, this Lincoln Navigator, which is a Ford Expedition, is only $104,000. And let's wrap this up with some of the new S650 Mustangs. I drove one of these for a review video about a month ago. It was a pretty cool driving experience. It definitely was not the funnest car I've ever driven. Any Corvette I've driven was more lively, more fun, because they now weigh almost 4,000 pounds. They hardly make 500 horsepower, and you really have to rev it out in the RPM to get the Coyote to produce that torque that you want to feel in the seat of your pants. But they look cool. I do wish that they maybe looked a little bit better, a little bit less plain Jane for nearly $50,000. But the window sticker on this one, Yeah, it's literally $50,000. There is about $2,000 of discount you can get. So I do appreciate that the dealership is willing to order a bunch of Mustangs and give you them at a discount, whether it's the Mach-E electric SUV or the real Mustang. So at least there's that. I do not want to see these go away, so I am glad that Ford is still producing them, because Dodge pulled out of the game, Chevy pulled out of the game with the Camaro after this year, so the Mustang is the only pony car or muscle car left. So kudos to them for keeping it alive, not taking it out to pasture to die. But there are some affordable vehicles that you can buy, like this brand new 2024 Ford Bronco Sport, which after discount of over $4,000 only costs about $31,000. So that's probably not too bad of a deal. But work trucks have become so expensive. This, for example, is an F350 with the 6.7 high output. So it is a very powerful truck. $86,000 though means that the average person who might need this to do a heavy job, they might not be able to actually afford it. That's another red badge, high output diesel. This one does not show, so it's probably the gas engine, the 6.7 or the 7.3. Yep, 7.3. And it's $68,000. After discount though, it's $62,000. So that's still pretty expensive, but that's a lot more reasonable, especially if you're going to be using this for work. Of course, I do wish that from the factory, it came with a spray and bed liner. I'm not sure why anyone would not want one of those, especially when they go through the effort of painting the truck. Don't you think they should include the spray and bed liner and save the cost of paint? Now, this might just be the best thing that I will find all day long. It's a 2024 Ford Maverick for $26,000 after about $1,000 of discount. This is what people want. This is what we need to see more of. But there's only this one and this one for $25,000. All the other ones are at least $10,000 more at $35,000, and those ones over there are about $37,000. Ultimately though, guys, I just don't want you to overpay for a vehicle, to find yourself underwater and in a situation that future you is not going to be very happy that current you decided to sign that crazy loan or pay for that vehicle that you lost thousands of dollars on right off the bat. Find deals that are good, find deals that work for you for safe, affordable vehicles that are actually going to last long term and have decent reliability. There are a lot of good vehicles out there, like Subarus, for example, where a lot of these can be found for $25,000 to $40,000. So well under or well less than the average new vehicle, and they have better than average reliability, capability, and way better safety characteristics. But there are some good vehicles like what you've seen, like the Ford Mavericks for $25,000, the Bronco Sport, which is basically the same platform as the Maverick, for $30,000, or some other ones like from Toyota. So there are a lot of good options out there, but there's also a lot of bad options. Buy what you actually want, what you actually need and can use. Don't just buy whatever the first vehicle is that pops up or the first deal that the salesman tries to give you. Don't support the manufacturers that are overcharging and asking way too much money, overvaluing their vehicles. Find the right deal for you, because the car buying experience is a very personable one, and it's one of the biggest decisions and one of the most expensive purchases that you will ever find yourself signing for or paying cash for. And with that said, if you guys liked my video, please consider liking my video. Comment your thoughts and opinions below. Hope you take care. I hope to see you again on the next time. And until then, don't overpay for a vehicle. See ya.